The Arab countries are pretty much an enigma. For many, their understanding stems from movies like Lawrence of Arabia and a muddled perception of the Arab-Israeli conflict. It's an area where leaders seem larger than life. Gaddafi, Arafat, and Saddam Hussein, an area where loyalties shift like the desert sands. This latest crisis has seen some strange bedfellows emerge. Iraq and longtime enemy, Iran. And then there's the Saudis, once active supporters of Iraq in their battle against Iran. Now the Saudis are under threat from Saddam Hussein and Iraq. The Saudi Arabians must now depend on the West to supplement their defences. The Saudis, betrayed by their former friends. CBS's Harry Reisner reports.
Harry, let me show you something.
My escort? Saudi Arabia's ambassador to Washington, Prince Bandar Ibn Sultan, the member of the royal family now coordinating U.S. military assistance to his country, along with Prince Turki bin Nasser, commander of the kingdom's eastern air defenses, and U.S. Air Force General Jack Farrington, who was at the time the highest-ranking American officer in Saudi Arabia. They took me and our crew deep under the desert to see what is today perhaps the most highly sensitive air command post in the world, the main base from which American generals and their Saudi counterparts will direct the response if Iraq crosses the border.
Command center underground for this whole region.
Prince Turki, exactly where are we?
Harry, welcome to Dhahran, Saudi Arabia. We are at the eastern province of Saudi Arabia. We are at the command post of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
You're keeping track of everything that's in the air.
Exactly, and we are always here 24 hours a day, just keeping track on all air traffic that comes through the area here and keeping an eye on everything that flies here.
What are you looking for? What are your concerns?
The first concern here is the defense of the kingdom. And we are tasked here on defending this area against any intruder that comes in.
General, what's your role here? You're not just a visitor.
Well, Harry, no, I'm not a visitor. I am part of the United States military that has been in Saudi Arabia in one capacity or another since World War II. We perform essentially a coordination function in response to Saudi Arabian requirements to provide training, technical assistance as they request.
Now, a year later, teams of U.S. and Saudi soldiers have assumed a joint command here as they prepare to deploy the greatest assemblage of air power since the Vietnam War. Around the clock, they're watching these radar screens, waiting for Saddam Hussein to make his move. This is what it looks like under the desert. General Farrington showed us what it looks like from the air.
You're looking at underground shelters for the airplanes. You're looking at hardened shelters. Obviously, you don't see much because they're designed that way. They're designed to be camouflaged, hardened, and hard to hit. But we're going to go down on the ground and we're going to see them on the ground, so you're going to get a much closer view.
If it's impressive from the air, on the ground it looks like any American air base. The F-15s, except for the markings on the planes, are the same ones we fly. The Saudi pilots look much like American pilots, with one difference. Whenever the alert comes, these pilots know they have only minutes before an Iraqi warplane could make its way to the Dhahran oil fields. This base, with its hardened hangars able to withstand 2,000-pound bombs, with its spare parts at the ready, fuel and ammunition in place, will be home to many of the American F-15s and F-16s and AWACS and ground personnel that are now pouring into the desert kingdom. The Saudis planned it that way, against just such a moment as this. I remember during our conversation here in Saudi Arabia a year ago, I don't believe we ever mentioned Iraq.
Aren't we seeing the signs of the world, Harry? If you asked me 1 hour before the invasion of Kuwait, about this scenario, I would have laughed at you and said, I would not answer a preposterous hypothetical.
Earlier today, we spoke to Prince Bandar at his residence in Washington. Sir, have you ever met Saddam Hussein?
Yes, I have. Last time was about 4 months ago. And I am very saddened and hurt personally because when I met him, he told me in an unambiguous way that one of the threats he feels to the area is these malicious rumors that Iraq has designed on any of its neighbors. And I really believed him. But remember, before he invaded Kuwait, he assured King Fahd that he will not attack Kuwait. He assured President Mubarak he will not attack Kuwait.
But he did it.
Yes, he did it. But so did Hitler when he took Czechoslovakia or Poland or the Rhineland. And the question was, the big mistake the world did then was to say, he did it, what can we do? And what the result of that was World War. I think wrong is wrong is wrong, and we must all stand up for certain principles. And one of them is the right of people to live in peace and to live with dignity without threats from bigger nations.
What offends Prince Bandar is that the enemy on his border now was the grateful friend, not only of Saudi Arabia, but of the United States during Iraq's 8-year war with Iran.
President Saddam Hussein calls the Americans and other friendly forces coming there imperialists. Well, Harry, you know that during that war, he used to ask us, and we helped him to get the Americans to help him in his war. And they did.
You, Saudi Arabia alone, gave how many billions to him during the war with Iran?
Tens of billions. We never thought he would be so ungrateful.
The prince had something to say about another less than grateful Arab friend. King Hussein of Jordan, longtime friend and ally of Saudi Arabia, a longtime friend of the United States. After the annexation of Kuwait, he said Saddam Hussein is a great patriot. What's with King Hussein?
It hurts. I don't give myself the right to make a comment about an Arab leader like King Hussein. But I want to tell you that Saudi armed forces were in Jordan helping Hussein when he needed help. And I just hope he remembers that. But it definitely hurts.
You know, Your Highness, when we have talked before, the whole history of the building of a special relationship between Saudi Arabia and the United States was discussed. And implicit in the building of that special relationship was a time when we would need each other. Not only oil, but military friendships. Is the kind of nightmare that we had in mind coming true?
If it's not coming true, it's close to it.